Like cooking, everything has a recipe.
A set of instructions to follow in order to gain a certain result.
Music is no different.
Be it ingredients for a dish, a set list for an amazing show,
Or a release strategy for a successful launch.
these are all recipes.
Hi, we're your hosts, Sean.
And I'm Brandon.
Come and join us in our kitchen as we go through the Music Maker's Cookbook.
Let's get cooking.
Welcome to the Music Maker's Cookbook, the podcast where we help independent artists cook up recipes for success in the music industry. My mic is falling down. And my name is Sean.
And I'm Brandon.
And today we're going to be going over merchandise, which is not just one big word. It can actually be shortened into a shorter one, merch. I got that idea from Brandon.
I'm so glad you included that.
And we're going to be diving into, all about what merch is and different ways to be creative with it, how to sell it, inventory, the whole shebang, get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
Before then, just kind of get into some personal aspects of it. Have you ever gotten anything for merch for your studio or any groups you've been a part of? I have.
Like gotten merch done for me?
Yeah. I know you have a Studio 222 sweatshirt.
Oh, man.
Which, watch the video podcast on YouTube. You'll see it pop up every now and then.
There's one person right now, and he's the one that actually commented on the video.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's listening right now. And he's like, this man has merch, and he's seen the merch, and he hasn't put it on his website. And the next time I see Caleb, he's going to yell at me. So,
Sell your merch.
I do have merch. I have made merch, and it's ready to go. But the way that it integrates on WordPress is really like kind of fucky with the company that I'm using, which is Printful. We will talk about them later.
Yep.
But there's not an easy way to actually bridge that, and they have a bunch of errors that happen, and they never update the app. So like it's like a really pain in the ass, and then you have to build out the whole store through WooCommerce, and like I've looked up tutorials.
WooCommerce?
WooCommerce, yeah, totally, completely free, valid platform.
I almost did something I would have really regretted, so I'm glad I didn't.
Are you gonna do the Ric Flair woo?
No.
Oh.
Anyways, go on.
And yeah, it's just I've looked up YouTube videos, and they're all like 4 or 5 hours long, and I'm like, I don't want to spend 5 hours doing that, but I'm gonna have to spend 5 hours doing that, So
There's got to be a better way to incorporate it, right?
Like I think like those YouTube videos start from the very beginning, like they help you set up your site and then set up the WooCommerce. But I just want to know how to just do this really quick.
Just watch that 2x speed.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then once you get to a part where you need the information, slow down.
Yeah. So I do have merch ready to go,
Yeah.
but I've not done anything with it. What about you?
So I have ordered a couple things. I've done custom guitar picks.
Mm-hmm. That's sweet.
Which really don't cost anything more than, they cost a little bit more, but don't really cost much more than just bulk guitar picks.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'm writing that down actually.
Yeah, and since they're in my studio, I just kind of hand them out to artists for them to use during their sessions, and they keep it, and then whenever they use it, they think of me. Then the other thing I ordered was these, actually, oh no, it's not on this current keychain. I got these bottle opener keychains.
Yes, I have one.
Yes, that have like the embossed wood logo on it. I figured it's more utility based.
Sure.
Something that people are actually going to use.
Yep.
So it's not just like, hey, here's a shirt or here's something that's branded.
Sits dormant, doesn't give you a reason to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's a great idea. Where'd you get those from?
So I got those from a site called 4 All Promo, the number 4.
Oh, yeah, I've seen them before.
Yep. Pretty good quality. I don't really have anything negative to say about it. They got it pretty quick. They sent me how this is going to look like before they made it, everything. So I wasn't putting it in, cross my fingers, it would turn out good. They showed me, hey, this is what it's going to look like. And they do a bunch of stuff. They got beanies, they got hats, they got water bottles. It's mainly for business stuff. So like pens and stuff to pass out during events. But yeah, I thought the
pens
bottle opener was pretty cool.
so there's a reason why I'm like deterring and like actually writing this stuff down is because we're going to touch on a topic that is a valuable way of like attracting people to your booth later. And I'm writing these ideas down as you speak them because these are great ideas that you could do. So I just wanted to do that. I'm not like, oh, gotta write this down. I mean, I am though. Like I might use it for myself too. Yeah. It's really for myself.
It could be for both. This whole podcast is really for myself.
Honestly, same here. I just like talking to you. So like, I think it's cool.
You bounce off a lot of my ideas that like make me think of things like, man, I wouldn't have thought about that. It's stupid. That's why.
And likewise to you, bro. I'm like, bro, I would have not thought of that.
I like how you energetically agree with me, but you didn't hear that I just completely dissed you.
Did you? What'd you say?
You'll have to listen to this back.
Oh no.
No, I was completely joking when I said
I'll be
that.
mad at you later when I listen back.
Yeah, be mad at me later.
Yeah, then I'll text you. I won't do it right here.
There's got to be a way we can market that and put it on a shirt. This whole moment.
There could be.
And sell it.
So there's a saying that I say in every session.
Oh yeah, here we go.
And everybody always says it, whether it's at
all right, here we go
at the dispense of me or just in general. But
out of love, dude.
It is out of love.
It's out of love.
It is out of love. But it makes me realize how much I actually say it. But I feel like there's no better way of saying it, and I want to be a nice guy. Yeah. And it rolls off the tongue at this point. So I say a version of this. I have modified it.
Just say it already, man. Stop beating around the bush.
All right, man. Let me know when you're ready, dude.
All right, dude.
And like everybody gets called dude down here.
Yeah.
It's just that's what happens, right? Like that's just how I talk. And I say that every time before I do another take. And I got a voicemail from Kevin the other day that said just that. And then I get voicemails from Leah that say just that. And then like everybody says it when they come over. So
I was talking to Kevin the other day.
Yeah.
And we're like, you need to like sneak in a recorder. It's like, and you can just record, like leave it on the table and record it while he's saying it. And then, it's not a secret anymore because I'm telling you. But I was like, next time we record the podcast, give me the file. When he goes up to go to the bathroom or grab coffee, I'll sneak on his computer and put it as a trigger on his Stream Deck. So you can just click a button. And I was like, all right, dude.
We have talked about doing a sound bank for the podcast, and I really want to do that.
That will be one of them.
That would be awesome. That has to be one of them. That has to be one of them. And so that's my thing. And then I've actually put that on a shirt, and people are like,
you have put on a shirt?
Yeah. People are like, I want to buy that shirt.
I want to buy that shirt.
And so I will put that out eventually.
Dude.
Yeah. So
if you listen to this in the future.
Actually, it wasn't even my idea to put it on a shirt. If Paul's listening, Paul Montone, he goes by Montone. He is the one that gave me that idea. So shout out to him for that. So
good on you, Paul.
Yeah. So shout out to Paul, man. Shout out to Paul, man. So there you go. There's a good merch idea for you. If you have a saying that you like saying a lot, you can put it on your shirt if your band says it a lot, right? Yeah. So there you go. But you have to have the lore behind it, though.
Has to have the lore. Has to be kind of an inside joke so that people can call, be like, hey, I get that. Hey, we're connecting.
Exactly. It's a good conversation piece, if anything else, right? So yeah.
So all right, dude, you ready to start recording and get into this?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it, man. I know we're going to start with, I'm kind of throwing a monkey wrench into this. And maybe I want to start even before we talk about just like setting up merch and wherever we go from there. But maybe at which point is it the best to start selling merch? Maybe you want to start there at all?
So there's certain ways. So let's kind of go into what merch really is first. Yeah. And then there's certain ways you can do it that are at no cost to you.
Sure.
And then other ways too. We planned this out so well. I'm not cutting any of this out.
We did plan this out well, and then I just totally threw it off course.
Yeah, so hold on, listen to this. Yeah. But anyways, so merch, as I said at the beginning, is not just one big word. There's a bunch of different things that can, there's different kinds of merch, different ways you can put out to products that represent your brand, your music, your style, that you can sell to an audience that helps them feel better connected to you as an artist, to you as your art, and also closer to the emotions that they feel when they interact with you and your music. So there's like the classic merch where it's like stickers, the classic band shirt, sweatshirts, things like that you see all the time at shows, even online, where, hey, you order this set, you get a free shirt or whatever. This also includes physical media, like vinyl and cassettes and CDs.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is weird that vinyl and cassettes, I see people selling more of than CDs nowadays.
Yeah, right.
CDs will come back eventually because it'll be hipster
I think so
soon.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah. But like that's just like classic merch.
Everybody loves 16-bit.
Yeah. Everyone loves 16-bit. That should be in a shirt. No.
It should be.
We're going to say this whole podcast. But that's kind of what classic merch is. Things that ways people can interact with your music or showcase that they're a fan of your brand and put it on their persons or showcase it. But there's also a couple other different kinds of merch out there that they probably have a technical term, but I just kind of pulled one out of my ass. And I call them experiential merch.
Yep. Trademarked, coined by Sean.
Experimental, experiential, and involvement merch. So just kind of break that down, what each is. Experiential merch is merch that is kind of involved in the experience, something that people can purchase after purchased to participate in something with you as an artist or to remember the experience by. So like, for example, I'm putting together ideas for a personal project so I can, with my own music, implement all these things that we talk about. I've helped other artists do it, but I think it'd be really cool to implement it all myself, record it and showcase it. That'd be a good way to kind of go through the whole process. But I'm putting together ideas about it. And a lot about the project I'm putting together is more like a folk indie folk rock kind of, indie folk pop.
Yeah.
That whole thing. As you can tell, it's not super defined yet. But the whole thought behind it is going to be kind of nostalgia. Looking back, vintage, that kind of vibe to it. It's going to be wistful, going back, older technology, things incorporated into it. I've got some video game, like 16-bit sample pad, like instruments on contact I'm going to use in the music, which is weird to put in folk, but I'm going to make it work. Anyways, so I was thinking, how can I sell merch at these shows that makes it more unique and tells the story of the art, not just, hey, here's a shirt, here's a beanie. And I came up with the idea of, well, what's more vintage and memory and throwbacky than like Polaroids? Polaroid pictures are huge. Yeah. So I was thinking, they make these pocket Polaroid cameras that you can buy from Amazon for like, I want to say $35, $40.
Oh, wow.
And then you have to buy all the packs of paper separately. And they have these different layers of colored ink strips that they just kind of heat up and print on to print your picture. That's how Polaroid works. And I thought, it'd be kind of cool if you could rent a Polaroid camera at the show and then buy the paper. So you can take pictures throughout the night, keep them as Polaroids, and then you can also have fan interaction where it's like, hey, enter a picture you took into this bowl for a drawing for a free shirt or something. Yeah. And then you can save all the pictures and make a post of it afterwards, talking about like, hey, here's all my fans enjoying the night and things like that. It's a relatively cost-effective way to do something that's unique that really gets them to enjoy the experience of the show. So when they leave, they have these photos that's like, whenever they see it, they think of the show and they think of you as a band. Now, that's just an idea. A band that does do something similar to it is a local artist called Pocket Vinyl. My buddy Ben introduced me to him. And what he does is they paint on stage. Throughout the set, they do a live painting. And afterwards, they auction it off. So any fan that's there, they do a bid. You can walk home with the painting that was created live at the show. Yeah. So then every time, one that serves multiple purposes. One, it's something new at the show. It's an experience. So someone tells somebody else, like, man, I was at the show when they did a painting on stage. Well, I want to see that. I want to go to that. It gives a reason for people to talk about it and a reason for new people to come out. The people who buy the painting, put it up, put it in their living room, showcase it. It gives them something to talk about with whenever their friends come over. They like the painting. Oh, I got that from a show. Here's the pictures of the event. Here's the songs they played. This is their music. Check them out. And every time they see that painting, they're going to think of that night. They're going to think of that experience, and they're going to think about you as a band, so you're always top of mind. So a lot of these experience things are not just the merch, you're selling the story. And it's more creative than just, here's a shirt. And the last one is kind of like involvement merch. And that's more not so much an experience that they're buying into. They're getting into the idea of being involved in your music or owning something that was part of the creation of it or the involvement of it. So for example, like let's say you bought a guitar to record your latest single and you use it on the song and you have videos or behind the scenes of you using the song. If you really want to make it cool, you can like customize it, like change the pick guard, or chip out the neck or do something like unique, paint it, and then take pictures of it behind the scenes, post it on socials, use it, showcase it, and when the single is done, sell it. You can do like a online auction to your fans, bring it to a show and have people like bid for it or whatever and ship it to whoever has the highest or whatever. Or just kind of, post on your website. Totally. To have people buy it. And then now that person isn't just buying a guitar, they're buying something that you use to create the song that they relate to, that they enjoy. And there's more of that like, man, like I'm part of this. I'm part of this now. It's not just a song I listen to. Like I own this thing that was used to create this thing. And let's say you bought like a $200 Squire guitar for it, you could probably make a couple $100 on top of what the actual guitar is worth because now it's got that story behind to it. Even if you only sell it for $200, well now you just recouped your cost on this whole instrument that you used to make your song. And then even that's more creative. That's more of a unique idea. But even just a tour shirt, not a band shirt, but like a tour shirt. That's a classic. That kind of combines, and you can combine them because that's kind of classic merch as well as involvement merch because now they wear it and like, oh, I was at the tour. I was at this show. Exactly. So when they wear it and when they see it, they think about the show. They want to wear it because it represents an experience and being involved in something. So this kind of combines all three. So just think about it, be creative. It's not just here's my shirt, here's my mug, here's my whatever, and give me money, I ship it to you and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. As least transactional as possible.
Yeah.
Make it warm, friendly, fun.
Yeah. There's different kinds. So how can you make merch more interesting and involved in what you do?
Right.
Be creative with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my question to you is, when should somebody start looking to do merch, right? Because depending on which method you go with, you could spend a lot of money really quick. And if you're just starting out, I mean, sure, it might be beneficial at some point, but you might not get the returns that you're looking for right away, right? So when do you think merch should start being developed or brought with them or put online?
So we're gonna be talking about this more in depth later. But the way I think of it is because we're gonna talk about inventory and buying things. If you buy inventory, you have to pay a large amount up front and you have to hold on to it while you wait for it to sell.
Yep.
So if you're just starting off, that's not the first place you want to dump in. You don't want to drop $2,000 on shirts when you still need to fund the album and all this other stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So there's services you can go online. We're going to deep dive into this further later that are more print on demand, where you don't have to make an upfront investment. You make less per item, but you don't have to make an upfront investment. This is when involvement and experiential merch really becomes powerful.
Yes.
Because even if you're just starting off, if you do a show where nobody's there really to see you, you're just starting off, and you're on with 4 other bands, but you do something really unique, like you do a painting on stage, and then you sell it afterwards. Just for the novelty of it, if someone there randomly likes your music, like, yeah, why not? I like this night. I remember this whole thing. $20.
Yep.
Well, if you buy art supplies and budget properly, it's probably not going to cost more than $10, $15 of material of the painting. So you can make some return on that. Plus, now this person is more invested in you and they have something more lifelong.
Yep.
Or like the Polaroid idea, there is more of an upfront cost because you have to buy the camera, you have to buy the papers.
Yeah.
But once you buy the camera and once you buy the paper, you're not just selling paper, you're selling the experience of it. So you can have a higher margin on it, where it's like, $30 to rent the camera and then $10 per additional stack of 5 photos.
Sure.
So, and if you can even get like $5 for a stack of 5 photos, so it's $1 per photo, or $10 for a stack of 5 photos that have like the peeling, because they make them have like a sticker back to it. So they can take a picture and put on like in their, you can sell different options to it. Yeah. And then at that point, relatively quickly, you can make back your investment, because after one show, it doesn't disappear. You can still offer at the next show, and someone might want to like hear about it, like, oh, I want to take pictures of the event, or I want to, even if it's not for you, if someone's like, oh, I like this other band, and I can use your merch to take a picture of this other band, well, you're still making money now off of a different band's fan. So that doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Those are, it once again has an upfront cost, so maybe don't buy $1,000 worth of paper, especially if you're not proving the idea, maybe just one camera and like 20 pages so you can test out the idea. But, more experiential and more involvement ways are good ways to start when you are just starting off.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've always been the mantra of like, if people start asking you for merch, generally that's the right time to start maybe designing some and putting some out. Until somebody asks you, I mean, I would really just maybe have ideas in the background, but I wouldn't go out and invest in a bunch of inventory like we were kind of talking about, right? Yeah. And we're actually going to talk about a way that you can kind of start designing your own merch and actually start like kind of, and if like you can start from day one with a couple of these methods that we're going to talk about, which is great, because that was never the case back in the day. We mean back in the day, like at least like 10 years ago, really. Like I feel like it's evolved over the past decade with how you can actually deliver merch and how you can fulfill merch too, which is really cool and really advantageous to bands, the solopreneur artist, right? Really cool stuff. So do you want to dive into that now then?
Yeah, dive right into it. So let's talk about the difference between like inventory and like printing on demand services.
Yeah. So that's where we're heading. So there's inventory that you can order, right? So Sean had mentioned this before. So you can order a bunch of pre-designed shirts, right? So you have to order probably a set amount that from what I've seen, it's like about $30, 30 shirts at a minimum, right? So, and then you're going to order probably like 5 smalls, 5 mediums, 5 larges, 5 extra large. Then it's like, okay, well, now you have that variable thrown in. So you have to order sizes, right? And then if you're offering colors, God forbid, you have even more variables to put in. And now it's starting to accrue a lot more. Could this save you up front? Possibly. That is possible. It could save you money in the long run compared to printing on demand, but then you're taking on all the risk. So printing on demand will actually alleviate the risk and put it onto the company that you're working with. Really, the risk is marginal for them, to be totally honest, because first of all, you're not their only client, right? And second of all, they don't have any inventory that's dedicated specifically to you. They can use it for whomever, whenever. With inventory, it is all on you. You take all the risk on. You take the risk on of not selling all your smalls or not selling all your mediums or being short on your extra larges at a show or whatever the case may be, right? So you take that on specifically, and you can't really repurpose that like a printing on demand company could, where they could just be like, here's a blank shirt, I can use this for this client instead, right? So you do take on a lot of risk that way. So now that we kind of got that out of the way, inventory is really kind of straightforward like that. It's either you buy all the bulk and you have this design and then you sell it in person, or like you go do printing on demand. Printing on demand is awesome. And I know I've mentioned this a lot so far, but there are a couple different platforms I want to mention up front. Redbubble being one of them. I'm sure you've probably heard of this one because a lot of people do sell off of it. I think a lot of Etsy artists sell off of it too, right?
Yeah. And I've also seen band websites have merch pages that have direct integration on their website to Redbubble. So you can, and Redbubble does a good job at taking the design and putting it on mock-ups. So someone can see like, oh, this is the shirt on the model.
Exactly.
This is the design on the mug.
Yep. You get like instant feedback on like how it would look, right? Sometimes it's simulated. It doesn't always do the best job. And like there are, like we'll go into this, but there are slight differences maybe between each print, but they're pretty damn close, man. They're pretty damn close. And then there's this website called Printful. And these are not the only two platforms that are out there, but these are the ones that we're familiar with the most. So I can speak more so on Printful for sure. And I know you can speak more on Redbubble, right? So let's just get into printing on demand in general. So we'll start with the pros of printing on demand. Number one, no inventory on you. Like we just talked about, there's no risk to you. So that's great. And then you don't have to spend the bulk money up front, which is amazing. Number two, you can design unlimited things on coffee mugs, on backpacks, on shirts, on hoodies, on shorts, on bikinis, on Speedos,
on bedspreads,
on pillows, like
shower curtains,
blankets. You can do anything, which is really, really cool. Mind you, some of those might not be advantageous to your situation, but the possibility is there, and that's kind of cool to have. If you do make it work somehow with one of these abstract things, please let us know. I might be interested in buying it because that's pretty damn cool. But number three, it's easy to integrate online, like pretty much like streamlined 100%, especially if you're using like Wix or Squarespace or some easy website builder like that. Now, in my case, I know I said right at the beginning that it's a little bit more difficult. If you go the WordPress way, it is a little bit more difficult up front, but then you can do whatever you want though as well. So you can customize the entire experience instead of having an integration determining that experience for you. So if you have some unique way you want to do that, you can totally do that with WordPress or whatever the case may be. Number four is that this makes custom merch for fans way easier. And what I mean by like custom merch is that you can get creative with promos. You can run a promo where you're like, hey, if you win this raffle or whatever the case may be, you get to design a shirt with us and that can be unique to you, right? It was like when Make-A-Wish did that thing with the kid.
That is so specific.
I know. But it was Make-A-Wish did a thing where they teamed up with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise and they made him his own special card.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's just like that, except minus like everything else on the back end of the Make-A-Wish thing, right? But like that would be something similar, right? Is that you get your own unique piece of merchandise from the band. I think that's pretty cool. And if your fans would be into that, then you have the capabilities of doing that pretty easily, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially if it's like a one-off thing.
Yeah.
There are these websites are print on demand, as in the client goes in, they click what they want, and they can order how much they want of these different options, and the company makes it and ships it directly to them. It doesn't cross you at all. You don't have to take it and then ship it back out. You just get paid basically licensing for the right to use your design. Now, there are other print on demand shirts, like what's the one with the octopus on it? But there's like
Vistaprint?
Not Vistaprint. It is one, but I'm thinking about something else. But even like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Custom ink.
Custom ink. Yeah, or even things like Canva have print on demand services on a smaller scale. Where if you do have a raffle of, hey, design your own shirt, you don't have you can do something like that where you just make a singular custom shirt, put in their address, and it goes right to them.
Yeah, it eliminates. I was going to say the middleman, but it is kind of the middleman between you and your fan, right? Yeah. So, but it
eliminates the processing,
exactly,
and the time investment that you would have to put in if you ordered it in inventory and someone goes to your website and orders a medium shirt. Well, then now you have to go into the back, pull out the medium, fold it up, put it in the thing, seal the envelope, ship it out. Get the message 2 weeks later saying it was lost in the mail. Yeah, and I guess another one.
Yeah, totally. Or it was the wrong size. They have to exchange it, right? And like, which we can actually get into that next because that is actually a slight con. So piggybacking off what Sean just said with the definition of like printing on demand, we're going to go to the cons now. Number one con is that you can have unlimited designs. And I know I just said that was a pro, but it's also a con because you can waste a lot of fucking time on some stupid, dumb shit, to be honest, that would never sell.
Tell us how you really feel, Brandon.
I mean, honestly though, like well,
it's kind of like you go to a Coney diner. This is very Michigan of us to say.
Very Michigan.
But you go to a Coney.
Yep.
And they have a completely full multi-page back and front menu that's got everything from eggs to stir fry.
Yep.
To
meatloaf.
All over the place.
Yeah.
It's paralysis by options.
Yes.
There's too many things you can do. And having the complete freedom of like, oh, there's so many things out there. If you put out a ton of designs, someone who's going to buy them might be like, well, shit, now I don't know which shirt to buy.
Yep.
It's good to have a lot of options. You can even do A/B testing. Like, I'm going to put 3 shirts out there, see my 2 best sellers, remove the third one, put in a new option, see what my 2 best sellers are, remove the third option, and just kind of rotate like that. But you don't want like 50 designs.
Yeah, because like you said, that's paralysis by option, right?
Yeah.
And that'll actually deter the whole purchasing process for that person because then they're like, oh, I want to buy this one, but I like this one on the shoulder a little bit better than this one on the shoulder. And it's like, well, which one do I buy? Like, I don't know about you, but personally for me, whenever I go to buy something, anything actually these days, it's insane. I will actually research it to death until I'm like, I'm not really that excited about it anymore, to be honest. And then
I do not do that.
You don't do that at all?
I used to, and now I'm just like, nope, because I saw this one episode of the 6-Figure Home Studio.
Oh yeah, they've talked about this. Yeah,
great podcast. And he was like, yeah, I would go to I would always look up all the options and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's this pretty close to the same as all the other options. And I just wasted an hour, 2 hours looking at the choices, and it could deter you from buying it.
100%.
Whereas if it's like, yeah, you got 2 options, this one or that one, it's like, oh, I like that one. Click.
Call it a day.
Easy for me to call it a day.
Exactly. Then you captured that sale, which is great. Like that's the whole goal, really, right? So unlimited designs, not always a great thing to have. Number 2, shipping and fulfillment take a lot longer than having inventory.
Caveat, can take a lot longer, could also be a lot shorter. If you're on the road and you're sending inventory and you have to ship from the inventory you have on you, and let's say you sell out of all your mediums at the last show, and now you got to hike 12 hours back home with and you have to stop a couple times in between, and somebody ordered a medium. Well, now you got to wait to drive all the way back, have them send you the new inventory, fulfill it, send it back out. Whereas on print by demand, it could take them a while to create it and then ship it out, but it's a consistent time delay.
Yeah. So small caveat to that is that when you're at a show and you have inventory on you, they get it right then and there. It's about a 10-second process, right? So that's the thing. That's where I'm coming from with this, right? Is like if somebody were buying this in person, right, opposed to online.
But I'm talking specifically online.
But like you should, but like hypothetically,
let's say your tour never goes to Georgia.
But that's the thing, though, is that the band should have something set up so that they can ship out of a singular place, though. So you wouldn't have to go make that truck back, right?
Well, now you got to pay someone to ship it when you're not around,
right? But you still get there quicker, though, if you ship it from one area instead of print on demand because it's already fulfilled. You just put it in the box and you ship. So that's where I'm kind of coming from. The logistics should work out like that.
I still say debatable because a lot of bands aren't going to have the option to pay someone or get a volunteer to send stuff out from
sure
wherever
there are
located.
Companies that would do that for you though.
Yeah,
they
print
do
on
hold
demand.
on to your inventory. No, they
I'm
hold,
just kidding.
no, they hold on to your inventory, then they will ship out from there. So like from their platform. And I think Big Cartel does that. Or at least they did do that at one point. So but
now you're paying for storage.
Right. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. But if you're looking for the best experience though for your client, right, or your fan, shipping, right, fulfillment, that is a big snag. It's a huge snag. I hate shipping because I hate waiting for it. I want my stuff now. And like I don't think that's totally, I honestly, personally for me, I don't think that's unreasonable, because you do spend your money. Like there should be that transaction, right? So I hate when stuff doesn't ship for 2 to 3 days. I'm like, come on, man. Like seriously.
Well,
like
I'm so the opposite.
Like we have this agreement right now, right? Like that's how transactions have always worked. And we're getting better, I think, as like just in terms of technology, especially Amazon, which they have caveats, right? But so that's I guess where I'm coming from with this. So like I totally see your side 100%, you know what I'm saying? But I think this should be a bigger operation than like carrying it yourself, as long as you can afford that, right? So
moving on.
Yeah, next one. There are more chances for errors because not everything's printed together. So like your logo might actually be moved up on the chest, down on the chest, over a little bit to the left, over to the right, or printed on the completely wrong side. I've gotten stuff embroidered before and it was in the center. I wanted it on the left side, right? They will replace that for you free of charge because that's an error on their end. But that also makes it a way worse experience for your fan, because then now they have to wait another fucking 5 to 7 days for them to fulfill it. And then you have to wait another 5 days to ship it. Right. So then it's like, okay, well, by that time, I'm not fucking excited about it anymore. I've made an investment in nothing at this point. Right. And that actually makes things a lot worse, because then that means no return sales, which sucks really damn bad. So that will diminish your value on your merch so quickly. So be aware of that. That will happen. It will happen. Number 4, the payout is worse. And Sean brought this one up, and that's a great point, because a lot of this is percentage based, right? And not only that, you have to charge a lot more than what they're getting from drop shipping, then so you can make it up on your margin, right? So like, let's say you want to print really nice stuff with Champion stuff, right? I think Printful has it for like $20 ish for a shirt or a hoodie or something like that. Or hoodie's like 35 or something. You have to charge way more on the back end. So now you're looking at a $50 hoodie, where it would be a lot easier to buy a $20 shirt, right? Or a $30 hoodie with a lesser brand, right?
Are you saying it's, if you order with that kind of shirt from Printful,
right,
it's $35.
If that's blank. That's
blank.
That's what Printful sells it for to you. And then on top of that, you have to make it up on the back end of things and make it worth it for you. Because on the next thing that we're going to talk about, you're going to have to consider this. But
real quick, whereas if you do buy inventory, like most things, that's why we all love Costco.
Yeah.
When you buy in bulk, the price goes down.
Yeah.
So if you are ordering 100, 200 shirts, even different variety of sizes, if you are ordering 500, the more you get, the lower the price goes.
Totally. Yep.
So like when I was talking about the bottle openers I bought, I could have ordered like, I don't know, I think the lowest I could have done was like 30 or 50 for like $8 per piece. I ended up buying, I think, 150 of them.
Totally.
Just to kind of pass out and give around, because it's a good thing to get out. And it ended up costing me like $2.80 per unit.
Yep.
So it dropped below 60%.
Yep.
Yeah.
So significantly.
Whereas if you're doing print on demand, every time you're getting charged the highest price because it's one at a time.
Exactly. Like right now, I'm wearing this shirt. It's called it's made by Shakaware. Great company.
You are way more into fashion than I am.
Yeah. Well,
this is kind of fun. I'm enjoying watching you get into this.
I wanted to actually find shirts that were affordable, because I was like, I'm tired of buying like Champion stuff, and like I'm paying $25 a shirt for a t-shirt. I bought this.
Heinz.
And I've considered Heinz, but like people are like, oh, they're not as good. The neck doesn't stay. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go like find my own damn thing, So I found Shakaware, and there's a couple of other brands like this out there that make this style of t-shirt. But if you were to buy this in bulk, $6 a shirt.
Oh yeah.
But that's a 30 shirt minimum, right?
Yep.
So you have to reach the minimum, right? But you're also saving money on the back end. But then you have to get it printed on. So that either means that you're buying a printing press. I don't even know that's what it's called.
It is, yeah.
Okay. If that means you're buying a printing press or you're paying someone to print for you. So then now you have to consider that into there. There's so many logistical things that kind of go into how you're going to strategize this that we are spending a lot of time on because it's important. And that's a lot of things to consider, honestly. I don't think we'd be doing our jobs right now if we didn't really kind of go over this in depth. So that is something to consider. So the payout is worse and you will have to charge more than what you might like. And that also means sticker shock for a lot of people. Now, merch, though, a small caveat to what I just said, though, merch is typically expensive, right? People are
expected to pay $50 for a sweater, $25 for a hat.
Yep. It's not totally unheard of. So people are actually accustomed to that. So in our American culture, of course, this might vary in other countries, but people will expect going in to pay a little bit more for a shirt or whatever they're buying. So the next one is shipping. And we're not talking about the fulfillment of shipping or how long it takes or whatever, but somebody's got to pay for it. This is interesting. And there are a couple different strategies that I've found over the years is who pays for the shipping. Free shipping is awesome. Free shipping is great. And it's a great way to get people to buy your stuff. But that also means you're paying an additional $6 on top of that. So that means or more depending on where you're located and what you're buying, right? Because like I think through Printful it's like $7, $5 to ship a hoodie. That's crazy, man.
Well, a big part of that is like where is their fulfillment center located? So like if we're located in Michigan, if somebody orders a shirt and it's shipped to Ohio, it might cost us like $3.50, $4.
Sure.
Someone orders a shirt in California and we just ship them a shirt. Well, that could cost like $6.50, $7.
Yeah.
If they order it in like a very rural area, that could go up to like $11, $12. If they order in a different country, well, now you're paying multiple mail carrying services. You're paying international taxes, a bunch of other things that go into that.
And I think the way that Printful does it is that it's one flat rate for them. So on all hoodies, it's like $7 or $8 or something. So they must configure that in there somehow. They just take the highest price, right, and just use that as their shipping cost.
Well, so I've never worked at a merch fulfillment center, but I have worked like my first job was a small business that they handled all the fulfillment for their 5-store locations, and we did ship to California, to Canada, to different states and whatnot. And the way they did it was they also had a flat rate.
Sure.
And it was they did the calculations on all their sales and how much shipping costs, and they went to about 60% of the cost. So sometimes they lose, sometimes they win, but on average they win, and it's better than charging the max amount. So I don't know if this is how a lot of places do it.
That makes sense though.
But if it's $7, I know that shipping can be way more than that.
Definitely.
I also know it can be way less depending on what
yeah.
So I would assume they do something similar.
Yeah. So what
you might want to incorporate that too. If you do buy inventory, ship out a couple of them, maybe eat the shipping just to learn how much it's going to cost, or put it onto your couple customers, and then kind of take the information and say, okay, it's between $11 and $4 to ship. In the middle of that is around $7.50. I'm going to say $8.50 flat rate.
Yeah. So you're saying that what they make up or what they lose on like let's say a $10 shipping, right? So let's say they're charging $7 to ship flat rate. So what they lose on a $10 shipping, right, which is $3 extra that they didn't want to spend, they make up for saving money with a place that would only cost $4 shipping.
$4 shipping.
Got you. Or they would break even right there.
Yep.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, so there you go. That's great. That's awesome information to know. And so that kind of takes us to, how are you going to charge shipping? Because you're actually in charge of what you do here. The platforms usually give you that option, right? Do you want to pay for shipping? Do you want it to be a variable shipping? Or do you want it to be free? Which means you're paying for the shipping. So couple different ways to kind of go about it. You can make the customer pay and just charge them
pay.
Yeah, right. And just charge them a flat rate. So no matter how many items they're buying, you can charge them one flat rate. That is extremely difficult, and you will probably end up losing money more so than you would be making, even if your margin's higher.
You will lose money on the shipping, but let's say they do order a lot, then because of the margins and because of how much they are buying in bulk, you end up overall making more on the sale.
Which means your margins have to be very high on top of what you're buying, right? So that also means possibly less sales in the long run because it'll deter people from wanting to buy more. Yeah. So you have a little bit of a trade-off there. Number 2 is you can do a variable shipping where the more items you add, the higher shipping gets. That's just kind of how it goes. But then that also makes it not super friendly at checkout when they see there's an extra $15 that they have to spend to get their stuff. That sucks. And then that means maybe one less item and maybe not returning, right?
Especially in this world where everyone is used to free shipping.
Right. Thanks, Amazon. Seriously, that's what everybody's used to. So good luck breaking through that. I'm spoiled. No,
first world problems, man.
Yeah, right, dude.
Thanks, Bezos.
Right. The next one is, well, maybe both of those things combined into one, but maybe more variable is that you can offer free shipping, but then that variable cost comes out of your pocket. So, which means higher margins for you because you have to make up that cost. Or you can do something kind of interesting and you can charge people $2 shipping, $1 shipping. So that way you kind of meet in the middle a little bit and you're not losing your ass on everything, but you also are recouping some of those shipping costs where it's like, oh, $2 shipping, easy. I got that. It's no problem. Something nice and friendly and gentle so it won't deter people. So you will still lose a little bit on your margins, but it won't be as hurtful, right? And it won't be as unfriendly to the customer themselves too. So something to consider. You can play around with these different strategies. Those are the couple I wanted to throw out there real quick. I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
Not necessarily on shipping. That it kind of goes back to, once again, though, the pros of a print buy on demand is, while yes, you make less per shirt, you do not run the risk of what you get is consistent amongst every single sale because it's a lower amount, but they factor and they take care of the shipping for you. So this is more variable on that. And I would recommend kind of a flat rate shipping because then it's kind of easier to identify like how much this whole sale was, how much our margins on it actually were. Because if you're selling a lot of merch, you're going to have to keep track of gross and net income based off of it. So when taxes come, you can kind of declare that and be accurate and write off as much as you need to and things like that.
Definitely. And
which you're going to dive into next.
Which you just brought up taxes, and that's our 6th,
I don't know,
con. We have a lot more cons than pros, but like it's not bad, right? But these are all just the things that I want to make sure that you understand before diving into this. The taxes on doing print on demand are really strange. And I'm not a tax professional. And Sean, are you a tax professional?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hell no.
Me neither. Yeah, dude, like no way. So please talk to your tax professional about this. But the way that they do taxes is really strange. And like you have something called actually, I'm going to let Sean talk about this because Sean explained this pretty well before we were on camera.
Okay. Kind of like
how it kind of works.
So a lot of times the taxes are based off of the location of the company, or at least the registered location of the LLC or whatever, and whatever the legal entity is. At least in the States, when it comes to like sales tax on a state by state basis, federal, it is what it is. But for state to state, it depends on where the actual legal entity is located. When you use a print by demand service, it doesn't take into account where you are located. It takes into account where the print on demand service is located. So wherever that is are the taxes that are then applied to your customer and all that. But when it goes back to you and it comes time to pay the taxes and all that, that depends on where you live. So it just adds another layer to it.
Yeah, so weird. So yeah,
at least in my understanding,
that was way better than what I could have ever done. So thank you.
Didn't you sell yourself too short, man?
No, I wouldn't have done a good job at all. And then the last con that I have, or that we at least thought of, was it's really difficult to integrate in person. I don't know if there's a solid way to do this. I don't know if you have any ideas, like a QR code or something, but it's generally like there's a lot of barriers to it, and like it's just easier to have merch at your table than it is to be like, hey, go online and do this, and it's like somebody forgets about it and then you lose the sale, or it's not as or it's not like in person, so it ruins the experiential part of it. So yeah,
well, that's where it kind of leads back to the idea of having exclusive merch for in person versus online.
Yes.
It's like, hey, this shirt design is only here at the concerts. So you're here. If you don't buy it now, you won't be able to order it online.
Yep.
Unless you go to like eBay and find someone else selling it. But
totally,
if you want it and you want to support me, you have to get it now.
Yes.
Versus there's a different design online.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing like a touring t-shirt or something. We use t-shirts for a lot of the examples just because it's a classic merch, and it can be all sorts of different kinds of merch. As we said in the beginning, be creative with it, but this is just kind of the basic one we're using for a reference or a foundation, which we are now just getting to it, 45 minutes into the recording? We're just talking about why we're using t-shirts. Anyways, it could pay to have exclusive merch in person and online. Yeah. And it may be worth diving into print on demand purely for online just so you do not have to think about it. Like that donut. Had to think about it. I like it. That peace of mind and that just not having to worry about shipping and fulfillment and all these things can be worth a little bit less of a payout. And that's more just like so people who want to support you can passively. Agreed. Versus at the shirt, it's merch, it's active, you're making it more about the experience. That's where you can put your time into. So having a separation between the two can be. I want to quickly highlight a really unique example of the exclusive merch for in person versus online, right? Please do. I know we bring her up a lot, but Taylor Swift does this pretty well. I mean, she has a bunch of shirts and merch, right, that you can buy. But let's say like you buy a tour shirt and you have inventory on it and you're worried about selling through the inventory. You can eventually put that online, right? And just have it as a limited sale. And generally, like, this really depends on the popularity of your band and your brand. But I know with Taylor Swift fans, they will buy a shirt just to have the damn shirt. Doesn't matter what size it is, doesn't matter what color it is or what it is. They want that shirt because they will display it somehow. So there are small cases like that where that may apply to you as well. So just know that not everybody might not be wearing the shirts. So if you do need to sell through inventory of specific tour stuff or whatever, or specifically era stuff for your band or whatever, possibly actually does exist out there. It's rare, but that can happen. So you can recoup some losses that way. Yeah. Or you can also like get creative with it and like try to contact a different creator or like an Etsy person or just someone who maybe be local to you who can like repurpose the shirt. So if extra shirts you can turn into like, I've seen t-shirt handbags or book bags. I've seen t-shirt throw pillows where they just kind of sew around the edge, cut the fabric and stuff it. So there's things you can do like partner up with other creators like that, and it makes it somewhat of a different creation. So that, you know, maybe people who were there at the event, oh, I bought this at the event. I could have waited for it to be afterwards and could have waited to be on sale. Yep. Probably not going to think that because it's tied to the emotion and the feeling of the event. Exactly. They can still say, I was there. I bought that while at the event. But if you make it slightly different or find a way to repurpose it, it might give a reason for somebody to double dip. Like, oh, I've got the shirt. Well, I could also get a bag. I could also get a pill. I could also get, you know, make a tapestry or whatever out of the shirts. Definitely. You can be creative with it, and I encourage you to be creative with it. Absolutely. Now, in addition to the fact that we've talked over buying inventory, having it all yourself, doing print on demand, if you do get to the point where people want your merch at the shows and you are bringing it with you, throwing it in the back of the car, taking up the space, hauling it from place to place to place to put it at a merch booth, you need to make sure that it catches people's attention, gives them a reason to come up there. We've incorporated some other ideas on how to get people to the merch booth in past episodes. For example, I brought up in, I think it was the first episode of this series, which would be episode 11, where I talked about Butch Walker, how he did an acoustic set in between sets where he just played all of his old catalog where people could go to the merch table, fill out a piece of paper, put it in a bucket, and he would draw a random song. They don't have to buy anything from the merch table, but it gets them there. And while they're waiting in line, they can look and be like, oh, that's a cool shirt. Oh, I could buy a vinyl here, things like that. So there's ways you can entice people to the merch table. One thing you have here on the thing is different freebies that are built to your budget. I have an artist buddy named also Brandon, but last name's Bilek. And he has a EDM. Shout out to Brandon. Yeah, shout out to Brandon. I was actually just going to call with him before this. That's who you're talking to? Yeah, that's what I was talking to. Nice. But he's got a EDM project where he does a couple of shows like clubs and such. And he has custom stickers that he'll give away for free on the merch desk. And giving away stickers can be cool, but talking about specifics about merch, if you are giving stuff away for free, you want to make sure that the thing you're giving away has the ability to draw somebody in to get them more involved later on. So like if you have a logo or a character for your band and hey, here's a sticker of my album art or whatever. Something you might want to think about doing is not just have the album art on the sticker, but also like on the top or bottom or sides have the tags for your Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn or not LinkedIn. Why did I say LinkedIn?
I mean,
I was thinking like Threads or whatever. Not Twitter, it's X. Man, it's so confusing.
It's okay.
But you can have like, at whatever the band name is on the sticker so someone can see it and say, oh, it's really cool. I'll just, they have a call of action, a place where they can go next. Because they're giving away for free. Might as well have something in addition to it that sends them somewhere else.
Yeah, this is, there are a couple of good stickers that kind of have done this in the past that have reinforced the brand. I just want to highlight a couple quickly.
Please do, give some ideas.
Ron John Surf Shop. I would have never known about Ron John because first of all, we don't have an ocean near us up here. We do have beaches. We have the Great Lakes, which are awesome. Go to Lake Michigan. It's really nice. It's great. But there's no Ron John Surf Shop. So when I was down in North Carolina, I was like, oh yeah, I know this store because I've seen so many damn stickers on cars, you know? So that's what's one example. Another one is Sunoco. They used to give out those big fat stickers back in the day. I don't think they do it anymore. I mean, I think everybody pretty much knows Sunoco as long as it's in your area, which I think it is in most places. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking.
I've got a better example.
Please.
That's going to blow your examples out of the water. No.
Because that one I know too.
No, one that every single musician is going to recognize the second I say it. Sweetwater.
I love it, dude. I knew exactly where you're going with it, dude.
Yep. Show me one band that doesn't have at least one Sweetwater sticker on a guitar case.
I have one on my iPad.
Yep. Or
my dad has one on his workbench.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. They do a great job with it because they include the candy and they include the stickers and like special things that keep people interested in it. And they just give them away because, it's like, oh, it's a sticker. I'll just slap it on my case. And every time you see it, you think about it.
Yep.
And with them, it's just their logo and the name of the thing.
Yeah.
So they don't really need to put in like a call to action or a tag to where it is because every musician knows what Sweetwater is. But that's why it might be worth it if you put out something to have it just be your band name or at least have something in there that tells somebody who doesn't know what about you, what this is.
Yeah.
How to find out more about it.
I have two more things. Sorry. I know I
keep going, dude. This is your episode.
I guess so, dude. I'm so sorry.
Take it away.
When I was working at the radio station, 89X, we gave out stickers, right? I learned two things from this. First of all, is that not every venue will allow you to have stickers because some venues will have experiences with people taking off stickers and plastering them all over the venue. And that can actually harm you instead because maybe the venue might not want you back.
But sometimes the venues encourage it too.
Sometimes that can be encouraging too. And maybe you might get lucky and they'll leave one up for you. That might be kind of cool. But there are places that don't allow it as much anymore just because of that issue, especially if there's alcohol involved. And most places there is, right? Number two is that stickers are not always advantageous. When I was working at the radio station, like I said, they went under like 2017 and budget cuts were really big there. And we started cutting the sticker budget. And I thought that was insane because stickers were our hottest thing because like you post them everywhere. Everybody wants a sticker, but they do get expensive. And not only that, like you can literally quite throw it at the wall and it would never stick, right? Like just like honestly, right? And like I'm trying to be punny, but you can throw a lot of money at this and not have it pay off at all. And there's no good way of metric kind of knowing if it's paying off. You're just kind of throwing money into the wind and hoping that it catches traction. Sure, maybe along the lines you're like, oh, there has been some growth, but can you equate that growth to the sticker?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so that's where you can get kind of creative.
Right.
You can
especially with what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have a call to it, or you can. You're gonna hate me for saying this, but you can incorporate something like a QR code.
No.
But
I know. I should have never said that in that episode.
But more specifically, I have to do more research into it. But there are QR code-esque devices. There are companies that have kind of like that create like AR stickers. Yeah. Things that are more. Put your camera on it, or they'll say scan me and you put your camera on it and it has something that's more interactive with it. It costs more money, but you know,
and I'm sure it won't over time.
Yeah. But you can do things like, there's a QR code or something that takes them directly to your Spotify.
Yeah.
Or takes them directly to your band page.
That's great.
And there are some stickers, as I said, have an AR feature where you can even try to set it up. I have to do more research into this, but I know this is a thing you can do where you can like scan it and then it starts playing. Or it has like a 3D thing pop out. Or
it's kind of like a tappy card.
Kind of like,
yeah.
So you can do things like that. So if the venue does allow random stickers, they slap it up and someone's at a show and they're like, oh, that looks interesting. It says scan me. They scan it and like, boom, now they're listening. Or like, I'm specifically thinking of Ann Arbor, which is a local college town near us.
I love Ann Arbor.
Blind Pig is the venue that we talk about a lot because they've just been around for so long. And they've got stickers everywhere.
They do.
But if you go to any like diner in the area or most restaurants, they got stickers everywhere too.
Oh, really?
It's a college town.
Yeah.
People just like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
There's alleyways that have stickers and
the alleyways are covered in stickers.
Exactly.
Yep.
So if you have something that makes it stand out that people can interact with, then even if someone puts up somewhere and just forgets about it, anyone now who walks through there.
Yeah.
So we went to this one diner before the show. I played with Kevin about I guess 6 months at this point. And we spent for the first like 15 minutes just looking around the shop. Like, look at that sticker. Oh, look at that sticker.
Cool.
Oh, look at this sticker.
It's part of the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and you can even do like guerrilla marketing or advertising, things like that.
Yeah.
If you find places that allow you to put stickers up, local coffee shops, or just a bunch of different ideas for that. But you don't want it to just be a sticker.
Right.
Either it's tells somebody what you are and somehow what you are about, or you can have a QR code or something else that is a call to action to where to find more about you or learn more about it.
Or at least at the very least, like have a link on there somewhere, like the old fashioned, www.whateverbeyourbandname.com, right?
We spend so much time on stickers, but there's other freebies you can do. Wristbands, window decals, custom guitar picks, pens.
I copied those from you.
I noticed. But yeah, and a lot of these things, especially when you buy them in bulk, if they're things that you use all the time, just buy them in bulk. Like the pen specifically, if people want you to sign things, or just if you're doing any like writing down lyrics or whatnot, everyone uses pens. Might as well have pens that are your brand on it. So if anybody asks for a pen, you can just hand it to them. And if you buy enough of them, at a certain point, it basically becomes cost.
It does, yeah.
Because a lot of these places are warehouses and manufacturing places. So you're not at a certain point now. You're paying the you're not paying the retail price anymore. You are now paying the dealership price, quote unquote, of, it's usually like $1 per pen. Well, now you're paying 80 cents because you bought 500 of them.
Exactly.
So if it's something you're going to use all the time, or you're going to hand away to a bunch of people, just buy it in as big as a bulk as your budget can allow. Because at a certain point, as I said, it becomes cheaper or at the same cost of just buying a bunch of guitar picks normally would.
Exactly.
So
and that was something like we did a lot at 89X. Was we just had bulk of everything, man. And obviously there was ran by Bell Media, so the budget was pretty big until it wasn't. But so and like these things are really important to have, because I'm going to go into this next point actually with this saying this is that having people around your booth or having people around your merch table is really, really nice, because like it makes other people look at you and be like, oh, there's something going on over there. I want to go join that too. I don't want to miss out on it. We talked about fear of missing out last episode, right? I don't want to miss out on that. I'm going to go up to this place now. And now you're attracting more people just by having more people there, right? So that was always a key thing that we try to do, is like we try to get as many people to come up to our booth and make it look as lively as possible as we could, because it would help out with giveaways and stuff, people signing up. Number 2 is like, how can you make this like a little bit more spicy with your booth and stuff, is having maybe some kind of lights, if the venue will allow it, if you have the room, if it's appropriate for that certain circumstance. Like if you're at a festival and you're outside and like you have access to power or something, you could try to put up some like some Christmas lights or whatever, something that makes it pop. Right?
Fairy lights, LED light bars.
Exactly. Like you can
especially
buy
nowadays
on
they make
Amazon.
Now they make those wireless rechargeable light sticks.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, just toss them underneath the table, like have them light up, or put them behind the rack you're hanging all your merch on.
Exactly.
So you can like have like a backlight to it.
Yep. And then have a backdrop with that light, right? That's what we used to do. We used to set one up all the time. So that way it easily identifies you on who you are and what you're doing there, right? And that's what people want the most.
Which is, before we end off this, you have to remind me to talk about, okay, now that we talked about merch, like what kind of merch you need to make, because it does need to represent your brand.
Yes, it does.
We have a whole episode about defining your music and creating a list of what you are about that you can follow and make sure everything is aligned together. So we'll wrap up with that.
Yep, absolutely. And then last thing, I promise I'm going to let Sean talk. I swear to God, is you can set up a PA system playing music. Like I said, this is very much situational, environmental. You can't do this everywhere, but if you have the ability to do that and you have an extra PA that your dad had and he doesn't use anymore, set some music up. And it doesn't have to be your own music. Play some of the other bands that are there, maybe, you know, or play some just general, like I mean, people love like easily identifiable songs like Papa Roach with Last Resort, right? Like that's the first one out. Like everybody sings that song, right?
Your brain goes to that, and my brain goes to the girl from Ipanema.
That's like, you know, just make it fun and make it attractive. And I think that's a good way to kind of like help separate yourself. But like I said, some of these are situational, so you won't be able to do it everywhere. Sean?
On top of pulling people to the merch table, you need to have a volunteer sit at the merch table throughout your performance and throughout the show, because you cannot perform and run a merch table. And while you're performing, that's when the energy is there. That's when it's hot.
Yep.
That's potentially when people want. This coffee is just making me burpy. I am so sorry.
Fine. Which one did you have?
Just a hazelnut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's probably the half and half, to be honest. He's skimping out on the creamer today. Usually Granite has his awesome Dunkin' creamer. But today, no. Anyways, I'm putting you on blast. I'm so sorry.
I know. No, it's okay. It's okay. I deserve it.
I forgot I don't have my glasses. Okay. Anyways, I'm falling apart. I'm just going to keep focusing on this. You can't perform and sell at the same time. People, maybe if you perform at 11 o'clock, and someone has to leave at 11:30, but your set goes until midnight, and they want to grab a shirt on the way out, but nobody's at the booth, they're not going to buy a shirt. Yep. So if you can have a volunteer to sit at the booth the whole time and help manage it and help sell things for you, you can maximize the chance of actually selling things because people know they can go up and buy it.
Yep.
Be organized and tell whoever's volunteering how you're organized. Make sure things are labeled and different components, easy to access.
And everything's managed right.
So that if someone's like, hey, I want a medium of this, they can easily just pull out a bin that says mediums, pull it out and hand it to them.
Yeah.
Countless times, you know, I've seen, especially smaller local bands, where you walk up like, hey man, can I have a shirt? One, they don't have someone there. So then the guy from the other booth, like, hey, can you help me find a shirt from this band?
Yep.
And they don't even know what they're looking for and they can't find it and it's all over a mess. And like, oh, you know what? I'll get it later. Or I'll come to the next show. Or, hey, you know what? I actually like what your band too. Let me buy one of your shirts. So just stay organized, stay clear, have someone there.
Like have someone writing down too, like, oh, medium shirt sold $30.
Yes, keep track of inventory.
Keep track of that. It's like a garage sale, you know? Yeah. Like the bigger bands, they have it electronically, but we're not all as blessed as they are sometimes, you know? So if at the very least, you'll see somebody writing down on a piece of paper, like, oh, I sold this, sold this, sold this.
Pen and paper it's what existed before electronically, so it does the job just fine, especially if you bought a bunch of pens that have your band on it.
Yes, use your own pens.
Yep.
If you can.
So like use your own pens.
Do it.
Oh man, this is great.
I'm wild in this episode. You can cut out everything I said.
No, man, I'm digging it so much. But also like it's also your job to sell it too. Even if you're not behind the merch table, it's your job to tell people that it's there, sell it, tell them there's some value behind it. If before the show, during sound check, you get through the PAs, you can say, hey, go check out the merch table before the show. If you do have an incentivizer, like if you want to pick out a couple of cover songs we're doing, you can go up there and submit now. Or if you want to take pictures during the event, go up and you can rent a Polaroid camera to take pictures of the event. Things you can say beforehand, during the show, and after the show. You can be
after
like,
the show
hey,
too.
If you want to talk to me, I will be at the merch table.
Yeah.
So they have to come up to talk to you, and while they're there, maybe they'll buy something. You know, $5 for a wristband. Why not? So make sure you are selling and telling people where to go so that they can then buy something and invest in you. And when they are there, you want to make it as simple as possible for these transactions to occur.
Yes, you do. And like you can do it through a couple of different ways. Cash is king, right? Sean has this one written down. I didn't write this down. I totally forgot about cash, but cash is like king at shows most of the time. That's usually how it's done. Go back to your point too. You have to have somebody that manages the cash correctly too. Like giving out wrong change can be eaten to your margins, right? Or it can ruin the experience for that person. The person doesn't get the right amount of change back, and now it looks like you stole from them. That sucked. Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm talking a lot, dude. It was the full fucking thermos this morning. I sold my extra discs recently. Yeah. The guy, he just handed me the money, right? I handed him the discs, didn't even think anything of it. I was sitting in my car for a second, picking out a song to play on the way home, of course. And he walks back up to me and he's like, hey, did I give you 40? I didn't even look, right? I was like, oh shit, like you did. I'm like, does he think I like tried to steal from him now? I didn't even mean to. I didn't even know. So if he's listening to this, which he's probably not, I do not steal from you, I promise. So like, but that can be the impression though, right?
Yeah,
so
the cash transactions, especially if it's in a more casual setting, and depending on how your merch booth is ran, it can be really casual. Yeah. Especially if you have a fan or a volunteer, they're gonna want to talk to the fans like, "Hey, what do you think about the show, man? I love the song." Like, you want someone to engage with these people to make it more of a memorable experience. But at that point, people are human, memories slip, and things like that can happen. Yep. Even digital ways of transferring money like Venmo and PayPal, which you're going to cover, can still have accidents. But at that point, it's easier to keep track of it because automatically it gets put on, this was sold for this much and whatnot.
Yep. Sean mentioned this one. It's Venmo. The audio listeners are like, what is he doing? I'm holding up my Venmo QR code that they send you for free when you sign up for a business account. You can have this right at your table, or you can hand it to somebody. Be like, here, if you want to pay through Venmo, scan this. It'll take you right to their page. Then you say, can you please write that you bought a medium shirt or something like along the lines of that, right? And then they'll be like, yeah, no problem. Take it right out of their Venmo account, make it easy, right? So that's one of the ways of doing it. And you can also do it with PayPal too. I don't have that up here, but you can do it with PayPal though. Yep. So that's what I would suggest if you want to do like a digital way, but if you want to stick to cash, I think that's a totally valid option too. People typically bring cash.
Just shows,
But if you want to capture everything, you could do a hybrid of both, but it does become a little bit more messy. So
it can be
managing it, like Sean was saying, like you have to be on your P's and Q's.
Well, the whole thing is to make it as simple for the person as possible.
Exactly.
So like, even if it makes it more messy for you or the person volunteering, if it makes it easier for the person, then it is worth that 100% bit of extra frustration on your end. So if you do want to offer Venmo and Cash App and PayPal and cash, and it can be worth it to have all these options. One thing that I would suggest if you are selling all this merch is to just include the sales tax or include the tax in the price. So when you say $20 and they come up and they pay it, and it's like, okay, so it's $21.50. It's like, wait a minute. I just have 20. You can include the tax, and then when you declare it later on, you just deduct it off of what you made.
Yep.
So it makes it a lot easier for the person coming to purchase the merchandise, because what the price they see is the price they get.
Absolutely.
You don't got to worry about, man, I got $22 and it's $20. Do I have enough? Does this work? You don't have to mess with the different tax for different places. It's just, just include the tax.
I think there was like an economics term that I learned about in school. It's not this, but it's, I guess, tax inclusive, but there is an actual term for that. But it's like when you buy gas from a gas station, tax is included in that. So do that. It's easier. It's so much easier.
Dude, this is going to be a mega-sode.
Dude, I'm just like,
we need to dive deeper.
I'm talking so much.
Well, this is it's such a big topic. Merch is how you can make money.
Yeah.
In this industry.
And make a lot of money. And like sometimes like
you make more than you get paid to play.
Sometimes depending on what kind of deal you're in, that's almost the only money you make at certain points. So it's important.
Streaming, how hard it is to make any sort of money from streaming your music. Selling your music, people don't buy it physically anymore. Yeah. So like, at least not frequently. So you got to like, merch is how you really can recuperate your costs. Absolutely. And how you can turn a show from a good show to a great show by, especially if you help promote it and get good at selling your stuff.
Absolutely.
So now we've talked a little bit about having a merch booth, how to make it easier, what different kinds of merch you can do, how you can be creative with it, how you can think about it. Now you have to get your merch designed.
Yes.
You got to actually make the stuff.
Yeah.
Before even all of this, we probably should have talked about this first, because you got to actually make the stuff first.
Yeah, totally.
But so I'm just going to give out a couple ideas of different platforms you can use to make designs. Of course, you can have, most of us in music, we know other artists. We have friends that are painters, or graphic designers, or any sort of visual art. And you can commission them to create stuff for you. That's always the best thing to do, is to keep local, so you can stay face to face. They can really understand what you're all about and incorporate it into their designs. But if you don't have anything like that, or you want to work with somebody else, or do it yourself, or outsource, a couple of different platforms you can go to get design work are, I'm going to start with Canva.
Great.
And then Fiverr, and then 99 Designs is like another one.
Yep.
So Canva, the pros to that is that there's tons of templates to choose from. If you have no idea where you're doing, where to start, if you don't have any graphic design experience, but you want to get something out there, even like just for basic stickers or whatnot, you can start with a template, put your own stuff in, and immediately have a pretty decent, well-designed product. Don't go crazy with it. if you don't know what you're doing, the more you change it, the more chances you have you could, maybe throw it off in one way or another. You can also print shirts directly from the site. So as you mentioned earlier, if you do a raffle with somebody who, hey, if you win this raffle, you'll get a custom shirt. We'll put your name on the bottom of it or whatever. You can do single shirts one by one. So you can kind of test it, see how it looks like before you order it in bulk.
Yep.
If you design it off of that service, it's easy to import assets. So if you have like a PNG of your band, Elmart or logo or whatever, you can just bring it in, put it on the design and see what it would look like on a shirt. And it's pretty cost efficient because they do have a free version.
Yep.
Now, once you buy individual shirts and whatnot, it's more on the pricey side to get it fulfilled.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least to design it, you can do, if you have your own assets, especially, you can do it for free. Yep. It can cost a little bit if you want to use, well, let's go to cons now. It can cost a little bit if you want to use more than just their free stock assets. If you want to use their full library, you have to pay monthly. And we all know about subscriptions. If you just want it for one design, you forget about it. Well, now you're paying month after month after month. Yep. Also, it's not really easy to dive in and do specific details on the site. It's more of a basic drag and drop designer.
Yep.
You can do really crazy stuff, but then you really have to take the time and invest to learn the service.
Yep.
And also, as I said, doing it yourself can lead to not so great results. We talked earlier about majoring in your majors and minoring in your minors. If you're not a graphic artist and you don't have experience in that, what looks good to you, what you might think, yeah, I'm getting really into this, I'm putting this together, it may not best represent. Plus, when you are the one creating everything, you can get lost in the trees and not see the full forest of what you're trying to represent. You can hyperfixate on certain aspects that maybe don't represent or look good as you as a whole. So that's Canva.
Yep.
Moving on, I'm going to go to Fiverr next. Fiverr, you can contract independent contractors and designers to make specific designs, and you can say, find a designer, you can see their portfolios, and you can reach out and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. These are my resources. Are you interested in it? If they are, give them a whole breakdown of what you're looking for, what kind of product you want this to be put on. Like, hey, this is for a shirt design, this is for a sticker design. And there are really talented people on the platform.
Yep.
So really, a big part of this depends on your budget. Because if you want someone really talented, it can still be very expensive, even though it's on Fiverr. And if you take a chance on somebody who maybe is just starting off and for a cheaper price, you don't necessarily know what quality you're going to get. Oftentimes for pros on Fiverr, revisions are often included. So if you want things tweaked, you're working one-on-one with the person. So you can be hyper specific on what things you want. Yep. And oftentimes they include 1 or 2 revisions for free. But on the downside, if they take a while to get exactly where you want it to be, that can end up costing extra and extra, as revisions can cost more per additional ones. Also, this takes time because this person's probably doing other designs as well, and it may take a couple weeks, a month or so to get a final design back. And then once you do have it back, if you want something similar done again, then you got to reach back out, and their rates are variable. And there's some cons to that whole kind of thing. And also potentially communication can be a barrier.
For sure.
Because Fiverr is a global platform. So occasionally, like, you might like someone's design, but you might not be able to communicate as well with them, depending on what language you speak and what language they speak and how fluent it all is. The last one that I'm bringing up, there's a bunch of other places you can look for designs, is a service called 99 Designs. And what it is you basically create your pitch and you put it out there. And for like I think a couple of weeks or however long a period you put in there, designers can read your prompt, decide if it's something they're interested in doing, and they can submit up one or more designs that relate to your prompt. And from there, when the time period's up, you can look through all of them and pick your favorite one. Yep. And then you can contact the designer and say, hey, I love this, I want it, and pay them. Or you can say, hey, I want some revisions on it, and you can work on it from there. But the great of it is that you just get tons of options right off the bat. You can revise them afterwards, and there are really good designers on this platform. They are all designers, and they're vetted. They're vetted before they're even allowed to do stuff on this website. Yep. So you're getting services from people who really know what they're doing. Yep. The con is it's more expensive.
It is expensive
because you're paying for real graphic artists, and you're getting a bunch of different options, and these people are putting in their time for it. You're not paying for everyone to submit a design. The person who wins it, the person you like, is the one that you end up paying. Yep. But because of that, it is more expensive to make it worth it for the one person who wins the job. And then also it said it does take time because people have to submit their designs. And then if you want revisions, there's that back and forth on top of it. But it is a great service to get high quality designs from. And once you work with them once, you can work with them again.
Exactly.
Past that point.
Yep.
So now that we've kind of talked about where you can send or work with other people to outsource designs, even if you work with somebody locally, it's imperative that you communicate well to somebody else what your music is about and how you want your merch to represent you. The second episode of the podcast is all about finding your core values to your music, the core values to your brand, and breaking it down into 3 descriptive words that tackle the heart of what your music is about, that can easily communicate to potential fans and really get people immediately interested and invested in what you do. So I highly recommend checking that episode if you haven't yet. There's also a resource linked in that episode where you can go through the whole process we talk about in order to identify what your 3 core values are. Because if you can go to a designer and say, hey, my music is about this, this, and this, that immediately gives them an idea of what you're about and gets you closer to a end result that actually represents what you're about. And then in addition to that, I also talk about putting together something like a Pinterest page of all these things that this is the style I like, these are the colors I like. You can then send that to graphic artists. So they know, hey, these are the kind of colors he likes. These are the kind of styles he likes. Oh, he likes traditional tattoo style art, or he wants psychedelic kind of stuff, or he wants graffiti based off of this Pinterest board you put together that is a mood board that represents kind of the style you like. So now they have the 3 words that fully represent you. Hey, these are the descriptors of this artist, and also these I can visually see the style they want to go for. Immediately you're going to get a better result that speaks towards you because you put the effort in beforehand to fully identify your message. And you can be consistent when you have those. You can be consistent with your album art, your merch, your posters, your promotional materials, how you dress in your shows. And if you're consistent across all of them, that really allows fans to dive in and be interested in it and feel like they're a part of it when they wear your merch. Because now the way you represent, the way it showcases you, they now are connected to, and they can represent it the same way. Because those are the people who really are invested in what you are trying to do. So I highly recommend checking out that episode and going through the process before you try to create your design so that you know it actually speaks effectively for what you stand for.
Absolutely. Great. That was awesome. That was fucking awesome, dude. I have nothing to piggyback off of that.
But yeah, no, that's
seriously,
I guess that's
that was great.
That's my rant for that.
Yeah, that was great.
There's one more thing I wanted to say, but now I can't think of it, so it must not have been that important.
Okay.
I gotta cut that part out. But no, thank you for the. Man, this is probably gonna be.
This is probably the longest episode.
It's probably our longest episode. So if you're still listening, thank you for sticking around.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to me ramble for like. How long are we at? It's going to be a little shorter than that.
It's not a ramble. It's an informative podcast.
I try.
You gave good value, sir.
Thank you, Sean.
If there are any unique and crazy things that you do for your merch, please let us know at podcast@musicmakerscookbook.com. If you have any pictures of these things that you make, send it our way. We'd love to see the kind of things that you're doing out there. Get ideas so we can kind of, put it out in the future.
Definitely. We'll credit you.
Yeah, we'll credit you. Yeah. And this is a really big episode. There are a lot of details we could honestly dive into deeper.
Oh, we could keep going.
Yeah, and do full episodes on. So if there's anything that we talked about today that you'd like us to go further into detail on at a later episode, let us know.
Yep.
So as of now, I can officially say that we are now on any podcast platform that you'd like to listen to.
Let's go.
Yeah. So please follow, give us a review, check us out on different platforms. We are on Instagram, Facebook. We have shorts there.
Yes, we do.
YouTube Shorts, TikTok. So if you just kind of want to engage with us on social media, in addition to the podcast, you can check us out there. And yeah.
That was great, man.
Thank you for dining in with us today.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything you want to say real quick as a kind of a cherry on top of the dessert?
Anything. I just have fun with your merch too. Like it's not as intense all the time as sometimes like we make it sound, but these are important things to consider, and this will cause you headaches, and you will refine this, and you will figure out what works for you. This is not going to be a set it and forget it kind of thing. Yeah. And you'll evolve over time with how you deliver your merch or how you fulfill it or whatever the case may be. But just know that it's always a work in progress, and just listen to your fans too, because your fans will ultimately give you the answer, right? And you just have to formulate around that somehow. So, and make it work for everybody. So yeah, good luck with it, because it's hard, but it's also very rewarding at the same time. Yeah. And it's really cool seeing people wear your merch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in today. We'll continue the live series.
Yeah.
Got a couple episodes left.
Two
We've got
more, right?
Yeah. So keep tuned for that.
It's like we rehearsed that.
We didn't.
We did not.
No, we rehearsed nothing.
We did once.
Did we?
Well, I guess.
Kind of. Oh, I know what you're referring to.
Kind of planned.
Yeah. Don't think too highly of us.
Please don't.
But do enjoy the food. Go out there, cook the recipes on your own.
Yeah, man.
And bon appetit.
Oh, shit.
I stole it. Damn it.